Alright, welcome to your daily cars routine. Alright, we're going to use today as kind of a broad, big picture overview of how we perform our body's major cars, as well as to scan our body for pinch points. Okay, so pinch points would be impingement, and that's when two joints or two bones start to rub together. And then this is kind of the forebearer of where we could expect to see osteoarthritis start to form over years of impingement. So we can use cars to kind of scan our body and identify those areas and then do some work on those areas in order to kind of build some space, which is what we're looking for. But what we're going to want to do is thinking about being tight at about 20%. One of the ideas behind cars is that when we're performing this activity, we want to be tight everywhere, but only moving from the joint that we're focused on. So for example, if I'm moving from my neck, everything else is tight. So we're going to start with the neck. So I want you to kind of squeeze your abs. You can squeeze a block or something between your knees to help to tighten the lower body, but I'm going to squeeze my block, push my feet into the ground, kind of tighten my butt muscles, squeeze my hands. All right, for my neck, what I want to do is I'm going to bring my chin to my chest, dropping straight down. I'm going to bring my chin to my left shoulder. I'm going to bring my left shoulder, my chin all the way from my left shoulder to my right shoulder, and I'm going to drop down. All right, we're just going to do two of these. All right, once again, I'm going to look to my left, rotate as far as I can, bring my chin from my left all the way to my right, come down, and then we're going to reverse the direction. I'm going to look to the other side, to my right. I'm going to bring my chin all the way from my right to my left, and then I'm just going to do this one more time. And again, as we're going through this, I'm moving slowly, as if there's like mud in the air, and it's just slowing me down a little bit. Anytime we move fast through an area, that's an indication that that area, we might not have as much control in that area, so the body wants to move quickly through it. So next we're going to move to our shoulder. So we're going to make a fist with one hand, we're going to open up our shoulder with the other hand. What I want you to start to do is we're just going to raise our arm up to the top here. Now, I don't want to arch my back, okay? And if I don't have a lot of mobility, that's what my body's going to want to do. So I'm thinking about dropping my ribs, not doing that. Just start to turn my palm to face behind me. I'm going to do a big circle behind my body. All right, now I'm going to start to come back around. I'm going to extend my arm as much as I can. Start to rotate back this way. Come through. I'm just going to do this one more time. Again, coming to the top here. Palm starting to face backwards. Coming right behind my body. And then making a big circle back around. Okay, what you'll find is that when you don't have much mobility, let's switch sides. Let's begin on this side. When we don't have much mobility on one side, my arm is going to want to deviate out to the side. And that's okay. I want you to make notes of this. Okay, where do we get a nice big circle, meaning it stays in close to my body? You know, where do we feel pinch points? And then where do we just not have a lot of motion? Okay, so we're going to finish with our shoulder here, slowly coming around. Coming back around in the opposite direction. And I'm going to move to my shoulder blades. So I'm going to take my block here and I'm going to squeeze it. All right, I'm going to drop my ribs down. I don't want any movement from here. Keeping my arm straight, I want to push my shoulder blades apart as much as I can and then retract my shoulder blades as much as I can. So we're doing scapular cars here. Okay, if you look at me from the back here, I'm extending my arms out, retracting back, extending my shoulder, or pushing my shoulder blades apart, putting them back together. Let's just do this a couple times. All right, now, and from here, what we're going to do is we're going to make a circle. So I push my shoulder blades forward, I bring them up towards my ears, I retract them into my pocket, and I come down. Once more, I'm going to come up, shoulder blades up towards the ears, retract into the pocket, down into my pocket, and I'm just going to reverse the motion. So I'm going to go back, up towards my ears, forward, and down, and one more time, back, up, forward, and down. Okay. Now we can also do this with one side by pushing the shoulder blade forward, coming up towards the ear, retracting, coming down. Then we'll just do one behind us, back, up, forward, down. And you'll notice as I'm doing this, forward, up, back, down, my arm is moving minimally. So as I go up, I don't want my arm to come up a lot. I want my shoulder blade to move around my arm versus my arm moving with my shoulder blade. All right, so we're going to move into elbow cars next. And for elbow cars, I'm just going to get my elbows to my side here. I'm going to bring my hands towards my shoulders. I'm going to rotate my hands down and extend out like I'm doing a tricep extension. So again, I'm going to come back up, do a circle and come down. Question is, can we fully extend and lock out our elbows? Okay, if we can't, so we have elbow pain, then this would be something to focus on. Let's do one more. Come up, down. We're going to come back. And now we're going to finish with a wrist car. Okay, and for wrist car, I'm just going to do one side so you can see me here. I'm going to open my hand up. I'm going to bring my palm down as far as I can and bring it back up as far as I can. And what you'll find is that your hand's going to want to start to cup. So as I come up, it'll want to do this motion. So what I can do if I don't have good control is I can make a fist, but I want to just come down and just start to make a circle without my forearm moving. So I'm holding on to my forearm here so I don't get a lot of like motion here. Again, I'm just making a big circle like that. We're just going to go back around. One more time. We're just going to move to the other side here and drop down. Big circle around. And we're just going to alternate. Come back around. And there we go. All right. So for our next drill here, we're going to move into a cat camel. Since I'm already on the ground here. So with cat camel, this is for my back. I just want to round my back as much as I can. I'm going to start to drop from my tailbone. Slowly moving up my back. And dropping each vertebrae. Moving to my upper back. And dropping down. And particularly in this drill, I want you to notice, we're going to start to come back. So I'm pushing my upper back up. Moving to the middle back. Coming back up, and we're just going to do 3 here. And what I want you to notice as we go along here, and you can watch me doing this to kind of like assess me, do we have parts of our back that drop down well, like we're getting movement from each section, which is what we want, or do you see large chunks that are moving together, which is where we don't have control? Those are the areas of the back that are not doing the work necessary to distribute force like we talk about. Okay, so like for example, if I can't move from my upper back, my lower back has to do a lot more. So if you do find that we don't get very good movement in a particular place, a good thing to do would be to lie on the back and take a pencil, put it under that area, and just start to try to move up and down. And you'll understand more of that when I go through the cars, or when I go through the particular area or section on the spine. I'll take you through some demo videos on that. But again, kind of just make a note of places that feel good versus places that don't. So our next motion that we're going to look at is the hip car. So with the hip car, I'm going to hold onto a wall or just something that I can balance with. I'm going to bring my knee to my chest. I'm going to start to bring my leg out to the side. I'm going to start to do a big circle around, try to keep my leg up and push behind me. And then I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to push back. I'm going to start to come around. Okay, so it's like I'm taking my foot, I'm trying to clear over an object here. Come back around. Let's just do one more here. Let's come up, out, around, through, and then we're going to go back, up, around, and through. All right, I'm going to get a little closer to you so you can see me on the other side. But again, the motion is we come up as high as we can. We come out as high as we can. Sorry, we come out as far as we can. Start to do a big circle around, push back. And what I want you to be looking for as we do this, do you have a particular area that hurts? Okay, and it shouldn't be like, you might feel like a tightness, and that's okay. Differentiate between tightness and like a pain. Like I used to feel a pain right about here in abduction. Okay, and I just made a note, like felt pinch point here. So what I do then, with any of these drills, let's say you do find a pinch point. Okay, so on this third one, let's say I found a pinch point as I go too far out. I just avoid the pinch point, so I don't go as far out. I just start to make my circle earlier and start to make my circle smaller. And as we go along here, smaller circles become bigger circles. So I start with smaller circles. to kind of train what I have right now. And then as I go along and I do this for a while, that will improve. And I can start to make bigger circles. And I've been doing cars for years, and my circles have become bigger. So we're going to move to our ankle. And for the ankle, what I want to do is take my hands here and make sure that I don't get any motion from here. Okay? I'm going to move from the ankle only. So by doing big circles, or circles that my body can accommodate. So you can kind of see here as I'm moving that I'm not getting any motion from my toes, and this is what we want. Okay, I'm not trying to curl my toes as I move. That's a common error that you'll see. I'm trying to not get motion from here, and if I do, if I start to feel motion here versus at my ankle, then we don't want that. So again, making big circles here. Do one more. And then we're going to start to come back around. We're just going to do 3. So let's go ahead and move to the other side again, just securing this area and making note, like if you do feel pinching, where do you feel that pinching? And if you do start to feel movement, like you might move a lot, be able to move a lot in the inner direction, but not so much in the outer direction, just make notes of that. That might not even make sense to you right now, and that's fine. But I will help you to figure that out. So, again, it's coming around one more time. All right, next we're going to move to our tibia. Okay, so our tibia is just this bone that connects into the knee. Okay, and so when we step and we walk our knee out, this has to internally rotate. If it doesn't do that, we start to get knee pain because it's like closing a door. It's like not being able to fully close the door. And so what we want to do here is I'm actually going to attempt to rotate my foot with my ankle here. I'm going to just rotate out and rotate in. And for today, we're just going to work on this. We're going to spin out, spin in. And just kind of compare one side to the other. Do we get as much motion out as we do in? And then how does it look versus the other side? For me, I have a little bit less tibial internal rotation on my right side. And you don't need to know specific anatomical terms. I just kind of, just know that the right doesn't spin in like the left. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is work on our toes. And when I'm walking, I want everything to be nice and straight. Okay, I want to be able to kind of like push off my big toe, everything to be nice and symmetrical. When it doesn't, when my big toe kind of goes in, it causes my foot to kind of spin out or spin in, and that kind of leads to different issues of the chain that can cause hip pain and whatnot. So what we're going to start with is you're just going to put your hands on your fingers on your toes here, and just attempt to lift your big toe without touching your other fingers here. And again, I'm just going to do about 5 here. But the key with all of this is just find the things that don't work well, like my little toe here, and focus on those things. Maybe spend 3 to 5 minutes just working on that particular drill. All right, so let's move to the other side real quick. Let's see how my right stacks up versus my left. I have a little bit more motion and raise on my right side. And that's something that I can make note of. And then let's just switch sides here. All right, and that's it. That's our cars routine. Make notes on what we did today. Figure out kind of like any pinch points that you feel, where you feel unstable, where you feel good. And then maybe, as we go along this week, you can start to scale some cars for you and working on kind of areas that work a little bit better for your body.